Hello. What makes the author of The Story of an Hour, Kate Chopin, special? What is the significance? In this talk, I will focus on the words and ideas that caught my attention in the introduction for The Story of an Hour given in our textbook Zeitgeist. The first word that caught my attention was pioneer. You must all have heard of it. Pioneer. We say Kate Chopin was a pioneer. A pioneer is a person who is among the first to explore or settle a new country or area, or be the first to use or apply a new method or area of knowledge. So we follow the pioneer because they are the first people who have tried a new idea or have been to a new territory. Pioneer actually begins as a military term. English got pioneer from the French pioneer, which meant foot soldier. Foot soldier. And it developed from the old French word peon. Peon. In English we have the word peon. So basically this word means one who goes on foot. Terms like pioneer, peon, then pawn in chess, then pedestal, podium, so on, are all connected with feet or foot. So pioneer originally meant foot soldier. So what did they do? They would be the first to go to a new territory and clear the area for the army to enter. So if there is a war, the pioneers will be the first people to enter the new territory. They'll clear the area, they'll set it up, then the army will enter. Do you see how the current use of the word pioneer as someone who opens up a field or activity is called a pioneer? We're all following the pioneers because they have set the benchmark. They have explored a new concept and they have been there. They're the first people to get to that particular place. Kate Chopin is presently considered as one of the pioneers of American feminist writing. Presently considered? It means she was not given the recognition which could have been given to her during her lifetime. She lived from 1851 to 1904. This was a time where women authors were struggling to find a space in all fields. Women were struggling to find a space. They were fighting for the right to vote. They were fighting for the right to be treated equally. Though recognition came late for Kate Chopin, her writings remain relevant to today's readers. Kate Chopin was a late 19th century writer. She was recognized as a regionalist or a realist author, and she focused on the lifestyle and setting of the Louisiana region. An author's intentions are extremely important. The way a writer crafts a story tells us how that person views the world they are in. Because of this, although Chopin did not directly advocate for it, she should be considered a feminist writer. Chopin's writings tells the story of women claiming their own independence in the only ways they can in a patriarchal society. Chopin was representing women in her stories as fighting for their independence in their own ways. In her characterization, Chopin focused on the discrepancies between women and men in their lives in unconventional ways. Discrepancy, പൊരുത്തക്കേട്. There's a discrepancy in the way he talks and in the way he acts. There's a discrepancy in the way men and women enjoy happiness. Discrepancy. So she exposed the discrepancies in the rights or the freedoms enjoyed by men and women. Discrepancy means an unexpected difference. Don't you find discrepancies in the freedoms enjoyed by women and men, or in the power each one holds in a relationship? She exposes this in unconventional ways. If you read the story, you must understand this. Mrs. Mallard's response to the death of her loving husband illustrates this. Look at the next line of the introduction. Her stories were full of women characters who imagined or who wanted to live and act in lives not dictated by societal norms and male expectations. Societal norms and male expectations. These are two dangerous terms. Male expectations influence how things are to be done and how women are to behave. Since we live in a patriarchal society, one that is dominated by men and man's rules, societal norms is defined by male expectations. See the irony? Chopin critically explored the restraints that tradition placed on women. So it exposed the societal norms and critically examined the restraints, that the chains that society imposed upon women. Her themes sowed the seeds and added vigor to the feminist movement. Her stories were considered controversial because it exposed the unequal power structure in a marriage and in the community. Her stories, Chopin's stories, still retain their freshness and potential as she dealt with universal and timeless topics. People all over the world, after 100-odd years, still love reading Chopin. Her characters appeal to the readers even in the 21st century. The Story of an Hour is a brilliant exploration of such a timeless and universal theme. What is marriage? Is it a site of confinement? Are people imprisoned when somebody is getting married? Are they agreeing on a contract to be imprisoned for the rest of their lives? Whose confinement? Women or men, or both? What is joy or happiness? How do you define it? One need not be cruel to make life miserable for one's partner. The system is designed in such a manner that any violation of a particular task or duty assigned to one gender, specifically females, can bring society's wrath on the woman, not the man. Miss Mallard feels sorry for her husband as he has loved her, but she feels suffocated. When you read the text, you must have seen this line, free, free, free. This is what she truly feels after hearing about Bentley's death. Of course, she cries, but then her mind tells, you are free at last. You can do a lot of things now. How are you going to enjoy this freedom? That is what she thinks. See how a system can curb the freedom of individuals without actually using violence. Can one truly be happy when one has no other option but to follow someone else's wishes and codes of conduct? The story has an unexpected ending. It is an anticlimax. We have climax, then we have anticlimax. This story has an anticlimax. An anticlimax is a term used to describe a disappointing turn of events or a letdown that occurs after tension builds in a text. What purpose does such an ending serve the author? Why does an author use such an anticlimax? The tragic ending emphasizes the precarious existence of women. Just when we empathize with Mrs. Mallard, who is going to seek happiness and change her life, she has had an epiphany. So she's going to change her life. She's going to enjoy life. And we are all rooting for her. Yay, go Mrs. Mallard. Live your own life. And when everybody is wanting that to happen to Mrs. Mallard, and Mrs. Mallard is getting ready to face life, she comes out of the room. then everything ends for her. Everything ends. Not only does such an ending make the story more interesting, but serves to communicate the confined status of women. Only death can truly liberate her. See the irony of that? The story of an hour. The title is quite significant. So in an hour, we see how Mrs. Mallard's life transforms. We see her past. We see what has happened to her. And we see that what is going to happen. We see her future. Is there a future? That is the irony here. Okay.